Nerdrotic.com.
Produced by X-Ray Ghoul. Not tonight, actually. Hey, what's up? Yes, I'm on time. I saw y'all in the chat. I saw ya. Late and gay. I saw it. Welcome to Nerdrotic at Night. My name is Gary Beekler. I come to you from nerdrotic.com and my mom's of a JJ. And I'm live in Texas. Now that, COVID's over, we can't be distracted. Only one thing at a time for the mainstream media. So I guess restrictions are being dropped in some places, and I don't care. I'm so happy I'm in Texas, saving 50% on everything, not paying $6 for gas, not paying the California state tax. Totally happy. In a very in a pretty decent house. I like it. It's cool. It's better than that postage stamp we were living in before. So that was 110 years old. I think when we moved out or when we bought it. I can't remember now. No, we bought it when it was 100. No. Take that back. We bought it when it was like 90 years old. It was built before the Titanic sank. That's all I know. Texas does rule. I haven't seen a lot of it, to be honest with you, but it does rule. It absolutely does rule. I have been working Perry and Quarter Black and X-Ray Girl pretty hard, and myself as well. So, and it's not going to stop anytime soon because we got the Batman coming out in a couple of days. So we got some stuff to talk about. Obviously, the Lord of the Rings Fallout. There's a couple of pretty cringe articles we could go over. Not all of it, because I don't know if I could take all of it. But the Access Media is just reaching right now. It's hilarious. The fandom is just so completely kicking their ass on this one. And that's not always the case. And yes, it is good. It is good. No, we don't like to see, a show fail. But when a giant $1 trillion corporation tries to buy their way into a fandom, then piss off that fandom, and then tell that fandom they're a bunch of bigots, fuck them. I don't care. It's your money to burn. You could have fed a small country with it, but instead you decided to fuck up, which probably was essentially an easy lay if you just followed the instructions that a man spent his life working out. But no, let's get some experts out there and professors who get shit wrong. And listen, I get shit wrong too, but I'm not self-labeling myself as an expert or a professor in anything. And he's straight, that one guy for IGN straight up had an arrow pointing up to him saying expert. It's like, bruh. And DC Comics got evicted in a way. But the comic industry is completely healthy. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Not the comic book industry, the manga industry. Oh, stop laughing, manga. No, don't stop laughing. You can laugh your ass off, and I wouldn't care. And then, we're going to go over the Batman reviews. And, Disney Star Wars. How embarrassing is Disney Star Wars right now? Like, I mean, I can't bring myself to feel bad for anybody at Disney. Maybe it's a flaw. But the Galactic Star Cruiser was rolled out. And if you were watching Drunk 3PO's 75,000 hours of live streaming, oh my God, I would be embarrassed. And that is the story group at its finest, by the way. They had a guy from the story group there saying, we have been working on this for years. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point other than, I'm sorry, Star Wars fans, it's dead. Disney can continue to make a bunch of it. I'm sure they're going to have some people trying to enjoy it. If that's what you want to do, it's a short life. Go ahead and do it. I'm not judging you. But, I mean, just look at the Book of Boba Fett. By the way, did he find his book? I don't think he found his book. We had another triumphant return of Luke Skywalker, which essentially undid the entirety of The Mandalorian Season 2. And nobody's talking about it. Remember when Luke came back last time? People couldn't stop talking about it for months. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Why? Because it was meh. He was kind of a dick. Luke was a dick. And Baby Yoda, I don't care about Baby Yoda anymore. I never really did. But I didn't hate Baby Yoda. Now Baby Yoda is everything wrong with Star Wars. So we got that. Amazon, very quiet. They decided in their infinite wisdom to come out with a follow-up article in Vanity Fair, which ended up making things worse because they revealed some of the plot. It's going to be 5 stories. And I believe 2 of these 5 stories are original stories. One with the Harfoots, which will be a repurposed Sam and Frodo with a wizard. And the other one will be, Guess Who's Coming to 11Z's or Second Breakfast. And this article that we are going to go over breaks down pretty well, like what it's meant to be, what it's supposed to symbolize. Kind of like when the Mary Sue correctly broke down Terminator Derp Fate better than anybody when they described Arnold's reappearance as a drape apologist, right down to being a draper. You can't make this shit up. So the one thing I do want to warn Hollywood is Hollywood's still trapped. I've often said Hollywood is where trends go to die. It used to be a town that innovated back in the 70s and 80s. They're not that town anymore. So what they do is they grab on the trends and they ground them into the ground. I ground them into the ground. I guess I could have worded that a little better. Me, wordsmith. But yeah. So when a San Francisco movie reviewer is warning that your film, The Batman, is trapped in 2019, it's a little worrisome. Now, there's a lot of good reviews for The Batman. There's some bad, and we're going to go over those without spoilers. There's no spoilers in any of these reviews. My mind is open. I'm going to remain. I was warming up to it a little bit. Here were my concerns with The Batman from the trailer that to this day is still ratioed. And I hope I'm wrong. But if I'm not, I'll give a time when I'm accepting apologies. But I don't think I will be. So my initial concerns were this is a Jar Jar Abrams disciple directing this, and one of the better ones, admittedly, but they still have they have a rule of copying things and mimicking things. So is this going to be a mimic of the Joker except with Batman? I don't know. My other concern was there would be a focus on Catwoman over Batman. She would be a far more complex character than the Batman. That remains to be seen. I do know some things from the film that I will not state here that are concerns, but as I said in my score up last night, it depends on how they play out on screen. I can't really judge it until I see it played out on screen. Hearing or reading something in a spoiler doesn't necessarily mean it'll play out like that, but there is like one concern I have with it. Other than that, stylistically, it looks pretty cool, and we'll see. A lot of people have said Robert Pattinson is a good actor. Okay, all right, we'll see. We'll see. And if I'm wrong, then we get a good movie, and that's good. That's good. Am I super excited to see it? No, not really. But that could change. That could definitely change. My stance has always been, and maybe I'm just an old curmudgeon, has always been that I want to see a real Batman, a Batman who has a fully realized Batman with a full rogues gallery of villains, a functioning Batcave, maybe on his third model of the Batmobile, a Batcopter, a Batplane, Robin, Nightwing. I mean, just the Bat family, everybody. That's what I'd like to see, because we haven't really, Batman the Animated Series. And we haven't seen that. I would say the best looking Batman was Ben Affleck. His costume, I think he looked the most like Bruce Wayne. The best Batman movie is, like, live action is Dark Knight, obviously. I like Tim Burton stuff. I love Batman Returns. Yeah. I like most of them. So we'll see. We'll see. Is it going to be up there with No Way Home as far as gross? I don't think so, because of the runtime, and I mean, you're competing against like Tobey Maguire, and nostalgia. And I just don't think you can compete against that. But we'll go over some of the reviews, good and the bad, and see what the critics have to say. By the way, fuck the critics. I don't really care. I'd rather hear what you guys have to say about it. What they say has no factor in what my judgment will be, and I doubt yours either. I just think critics are a waste of time at this point. Other than, the independent ones, of course, out there. When there's some very good ones, like I think most people, like especially in our sphere, are going to believe The Drinker or Mahler over Nicholas Sal, or I can't even name a critic outside of, or Grace Randolph. And yeah, went after Grace a little bit in my video. All in good fun. Oh my God, have you heard her intro to that Rings of Power? I was gonna mix it into my video, and it was so annoying. I'm like, no, I can't do this. People will shut off the video immediately if they hear her, but we'll play it here on this live stream, because I know you guys can take it. I had it all cut in too. I had her intro, which is, she goes, ah, or whatever fucking sound she makes. And I have the scene of Aragorn getting up real quick from his dream when he thinks Arwen dies right before Elrond comes in. In Return of the King. Yes, I've been watching Lord of the Rings kind of nonstop in little pieces. It's that's been the good thing about all this, right? It's been a crazy 12 days. And yes, I know there is a war going on. You know that meme that's on my oh God, I'm forgetting who made it now. I gave them credit in the description of my video. Write the Bear memes. I'm something of a Ukrainian Russian expert myself. That's what I would look like if I started talking about that stuff. Kind of like when the pundits start talking about, The Last Jedi and stuff, I'd look the same. So I figure we'll just stick with being escapist, rip it on Hollywood a little bit, having a little fun, getting your mind off of that stuff for a little while, because I know it's non-stop. And yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on. And of course, the big tech companies are using that as an excuse to clamp down on misinformation. I think Discord's doing something. I saw Jeremy from the Quarterings made a video to leave Discord. If that's your choice, I totally agree with you. I'm just done leaving these places. I'm going to stay and annoy the fuck out of them until I get kicked off. That's my philosophy now. I think they want to run us off. I think we should just stay there and bug the shit out of them and be annoying as possible. And push the limit. Go ahead. I mean, you get kicked off? I give a shit if I get kicked off Discord, but I just started using it. Like Boomerman just started using it regularly to communicate with Quarter Black and Perry. I'm not going to bail now. To some other platform that I'm going to find out is owned by the Chinese or Russia or whatever. I just, I think we stick with our philosophy of they infiltrated. Why can't we? But that is just one man's humble opinion. If you choose to leave, I support it. I support your freedom of choice. Let's see who's here. Oh, yeah, I got a haircut. I've been wearing hats for like a month because I haven't had a haircut. I finally got a haircut. That's why we're going live so late. I'm also a little tired. Old man's a little tired. Wait, you can see, hang on, let's go back to the main thing. You can see my piles of action figures that I got to put on the wall. I know. It's like going to the salt mines. Hello, you lovely people. Look at you. So who we got here? We got Moons of Madness, Joe Will, Mr. Miles. Hello, Mr. Miles. How are you? Tannhauser Gate, Gentle, Fat Elvis, you're just big boned. Another Gen 42, hail to you. Jaloja, message retracted. It's okay. I'm not going to judge. If you call me an asshole, I probably deserved it. Dirthmick, is that, or Dr. Thmick? I don't know. Your boy Gimli, I love that. Eric K. and his wrench, hello, sir, how are you? Redman, bass player, 2011. Is that supposed to be iffy or I-Fi? Bass player. How's the bass playing going? I haven't touched mine since I got here. I might do that after the stream. Play a little NIB. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A little Sabbath. Von Max. Hello. Robert Lewis. Look at all these members. Enrico Nono. Sane Adam. Brian Barlow. Okay, let's get this moving again. Or not. There we go. The Ghost of Flea. Did Flea die? Or did he just separate? Did he do so many drugs? Flea, obviously, from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and previously of Fear. Toe Der Reader, the R, George Boney 90, Billy D. Shilliams. I love it. Mila, make Orwell fiction again, right? God. Jim Littler. I almost said Jim Hitler. I'm just going to say it right now. I almost said Jim Hitler, but it's Jim Littler. Don Gould. Kenneth. Can't pronounce that last name, but hello, Kenneth. What's the frequency? And Warren Smith. Good old Warren Smith. Rick Silva. And some really, really smart, beautiful people. Much smarter than I am, for sure. Hi. Ooh, my goodness. So yeah, the Nooners are gonna. Once I get the office set up, because I have to do it in halves. That's when we're gonna put the table in the middle. I got the table the other day right here from Amazon. I think I spent $100 on the table because I'm a cheap motherfucker. I've got my shelves, my cheap shelves to put up, and yeah, we're gonna start having people over. I'm gonna start lining up some guests. Yes, I got to talk to Chris Gore because I haven't given him a start date yet, but we're going to start having Chris Gores on the Nooner on Wednesday. I think he would fit in really good here because he's a really nice guy and knows his shit. Yeah, and Quarter Black will join us once in a while too. But yeah, just getting things set up. Let's start with DC Comics. Let's just laugh at DC Comics, shall we? I'm going to laugh because it is pretty clear that my beloved floppy, funny book, comic book industry is dying. This is from Bleeding Cool, garbage tier of all garbage tiers. Listen to how he writes this article. You want to talk about, like, I'm going to show you everybody I am the most beta insecure person alive. It's time for some DC Comics reportage. Some people say that Bleeding Cool runs every story we get regardless of its provenance or likelihood. That's just not true. Stories are weighed up by the reliability of sources, the closeness to the situation, and the number of confirmations. Man, Pulitzer Prize winning shit right there. I'm going to whine. Like, obviously, he reads his comment section too much. Wall, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what Wall is. Wall, a couple of weeks ago, I got the word that over the past few weeks, DC Comics staff who had still been working from home had been allowed into the Burbank headquarters building to retrieve their belongings, which they couldn't get during the lockdowns. I mean, recently? That was 2 years ago. What if they had something important in there? That they had been told that the Warners was going to, Rich, I've been kicked out of 3 high schools, dude. They had been told that the Warners was going to using the space for something else. I read that exactly how it's written. And that DC Comics will no longer have access to these 3 floors of prime Warner Brothers real estate in beautiful Burbank, California, by the way. Not a fan of California, but I'm a fan of Burbank. I lived there for a little while. It's a nice place. It's a very nice place. Some good restaurants, a couple of good comic stores, good collectible store. Problem is, it's in Los Angeles. And everyone was moving again to offices close by. It seems that DC staffers working from home, or in one case, Hawaii, had done such a good job during the pandemic that physical proximity in the primest of prime estate was suddenly seen as an access cost by Warners. That's a very interesting way to put it. DC Comics have been doing their jobs so well that they don't need to come into the office anymore. Oh, man. Hollywood speak. You got to love it. You were doing such a good job that we no longer need you. You finished it. You finished all the work. You did so well that we don't need you. But good job, buddy. We fixed the glitch. So in other words, Warner Brothers said we have these 3 floors and we don't want to use them on our IP holders, because that's all comic books are now, is IP holders. The comic book industry right now is reprints and manga. Reprints and manga. And kids' books. But those aren't doing as well as they were a couple of years ago when we were in the greatest economy of my lifetime. But thanks to lockdowns, wars, poor leadership, poor state leadership in California, poor leadership that we've had over the last year and some change. Yeah. So they're going to be doing a hot desk model. Anyway, at the time, I couldn't get a second source that I was happy with, so I let it simmer. A spinning plate, waiting for a second show to drop. And another horrendous mixed metaphor. And that just landed in my inbox. A reporter posted to a private WhatsApp group from one DC Comics staffer saw them packing up their cubicle for the new DC building and confirming that they will now be working on a hot desk model in the new building, also known as shared workspace. That indicates an office working environment in which people are not at all in the office at the same time. For those of you going, why are you laughing at somebody like possibly losing their job? And that their job would be very secure right now if the comic book industry wasn't filled with assholes. That's what you call a fact. So desks are not attributed to any one person. Any employee can sit down and use the desk as if it were their own. So, except it's not. Welcome to socialism, shitheads. You love this shit. Now you get it. So you can have fewer desks than staff, which cut costs in terms of office space and technology needs. Maybe y'all can share lunch too. Maybe when there's a sandwich in the fridge, it's a community sandwich. But it can also, well, some places, quite frankly, that happened to me. It did. And you want to see the bad side of me? There's two things you can do. Disrespect my wife and eat my food. You get prison Gary on that shit. But it can also create quite the soulless working environment, devoid of personal quirks. Again, welcome to socialism, dipshit. Which is why ad agencies that I have worked at, which have used this working model, have also thrown in table tennis tables, Subatu, I don't even know what, and snooker tables. That sounds like a good way to get me too, buddy. I'm not sure what that is. That's some British phrasing there. I don't know. In order to try and create conviviality. The kind that has been removed by people no longer having their collection of Warhammer miniatures lined up and down the cubicle as if they are about to launch a surprise attack on any visiting executives. Again, welcome to shared spaces, no private property, and community. You got what you wanted. You just had to start first. I love it. I fucking love it. DC Comics offices have become famous for a reflection the individual personalities of employees at their desks. Well, we can't have individuality in community and collectivism. Booths or cubicles, whether that was Paul Levitt's elastic band balls. God, do I miss Paul Levitt's. God, do I miss Paul Levitt's. Dan Didio's potted plants. Don't miss Dan. So they don't have a person. I know nobody gives a shit about comic books anymore. They're just so long gone. Basically, you need a shared workspace to make your next gay character, or I'm sorry, repurpose your next gay character. That's what you get. DC Comics. All those headlines. What'd they get you? A shared workspace. But hey, at least you still have a job. At least you still have a job. Individual personalities. Huh. That's very interesting you bring that up. It's very interesting. It's sad to see what the comic book industry has become, but it's no fault of the customer. That evil paying customer that DC comic creators and Marvel comic creators did not think they were accountable to in any way, shape, or form, and felt free to insult, disrespect, and then go so far as to start vandalizing characters just to piss them off. I just talked about this in my last video. Mark Brooks, hack artist of kids' books that didn't sell for shit, needs enemies. Noodle-armed comic book doodler needs enemies. what are you going to do? Submit? Be their gimp? Mark Larson, CFO of Image Comics, wants to make the Punisher gay to own the Republicans, dude. How does that make you feel as a gay individual, that there's dipshits in Berkeley or Portland, or same fucking difference, wanting to use your, it's not even your identity, it's a trait, so they can own their enemies, because that's all this is. It's all it's ever been. These people are far too sociopathic and narcissistic to actually give a shit about you. Or the customers. I mean, if they don't give a shit about the people who give them money, you think they actually care about any cause? It only makes them look better and makes people look the other way when they're being the ally male feminist who is scared to death he's going to get Me Too'd at any moment. Comic books was a proving ground for all the shit we're seeing in Hollywood right now. And Jim Lee, he's a good artist. I'm sure everything I've heard about Jim Lee, I've met him once briefly, very briefly. Seems like a nice guy. Terrible leader. Just utterly terrible leader. When the comic book industry was burning down last year, Az called him out on this. His big solution was to make an art book. Not even make, like, do a crossover, like a big crossover or something, some event. Maybe work something out with Marvel. And, even Gail Simone said this, and it's, it would have been terrible because the Marvel and DC crossover would have been a lesbian Batwoman and Captain Marvel or something. But no, nobody thought about anything. Everybody just ran off into their corner. And when Steve Jeppy from Diamond went on a live stream and said that Diamond was solvent because they got an extension on their line of credit, which is a very interesting definition of solvent. That's when things bit the dust. A lot of comic book shops died, and a lot of them survived because of the entrepreneurial spirit. No thanks to anybody in the fucking industry. No thanks to Marvel or DC or Diamond or fucking Dark Horse or anybody. It was the individual comic book owners and their entrepreneurial spirit. They're fucking nads. And I'm talking about men and women, metaphorical nads when it comes to the women. And they changed. They evolved, and they were able to survive. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing, and I'm very proud of a lot of them out there that did that. My good friend Jamie from Southern California Comics during COVID had its best year ever, because he just went, I'm selling back issues. I'm just going to sell back issues. And he's absolutely one of the best in the business, my mentor as a comic shop owner. He taught me how to grade, one of the most fair graders I've ever seen. And a fair guy. And because of his honesty and his fairness, he's incredibly successful. Yeah, I kind of like the guy. I'm sure the comic industry will stay around in some way, shape, or form, but we're like, how long has it been since we've gotten a good story? Like, even like Civil War, which is highly criticized by a lot of people. But like Civil War was at least an event that everybody was talking about that led up to a death that ended up making headlines, which ended up kind of like Star Trek 2009. Seemed like it was fine at the time, but you didn't realize the repercussions that would have later on. And yeah, we haven't had a good story out there. I know there's some independent books that are pretty good, but quite frankly, I've been just digging into old stuff. And my new thing, it's not new. I've read it before, but I'm really just back into it full on, is Elric. I can recommend a great video from, I think it's 2014 by Razor Fist. and it's just him giving top 5 Elric comic books. And I saw that video, and Elric is something I always saw in the comic store, even as a kid, right? And just ignored it. I was like, it's not a superhero, man. You know, I was dumb. But I watched that video, and I bought like all the Elric books. I'm like, what the hell was I missing? And they're freaking great. They're great. The Titan ones, the Marvel, or Pacific Comic. Sorry, there is a Marvel graphic novel, First Comics. I think they're all still in print. Go check them out. They're really good. Really, really good. Also, Elric is on Audible now, and it's a pretty damn good read. The reader's really good, so I can highly recommend that too. That's been my jam in Lord of the Rings lately. This shit, I don't care. I used to, like, Wednesday. I looked forward to Wednesday more than I looked forward to the weekend. When I worked at the comic store, before I worked in the comic store, and even after. I'm like, it's Wednesday. I get my new books. Like that. That was just, it was great. And it was an event. The last few years of my shop, it was an event. We would have people lined outside the fucking door, and it would just, dude, it was nuts. I'd be exhausted because at home, we used to call Tuesday and Wednesday Twensday because they just blended. I would get the books Tuesday night. I'd be up all night putting them away. Sometimes right up until me opening the store at noon the next day. Because, yes, I opened my store at the crack of noon. It's a comic store. I'm not going to open it up before then. And, yeah, we had a blast. We had a blast. And it's sad those days are gone, but it's not the fault of the customer. Not the fault of the customer. We'll see. So I don't know where these buildings are. My guess was the offices are moved to Glendale. Glendale's very close. Very close. I think it's right next to Burbank, and the rent is a little cheaper in Glendale because it's a little sketchier. Not that sketchy, but you know, because L.A. like Skid Row, sketchy. Like you don't even want to drive through there. There's certain parts of LA you just don't want to drive through if you look like me. There's certain parts of San Francisco you don't want to drive through if you look like me. And Oakland. And Richmond. But, yeah, they're going to shared offices because they did so well. I could have. Yellow Flash tweeted this, so credit to Yellow Flash for bringing it to my attention. Hail Yellow Flash. Oh yeah. I meant to put this in my video. This isn't to anybody in particular. Content creators, fellow content creators, make sure to give people credit where credit is due. It's a bit of a pet peeve when I don't see it. I've missed things too. Okay. I've missed things too. And I try to correct them, like give them a little credit in the description or shout them out in the video, like Disparu, going out and doing the work and finding out that all those, the UK videos, the Superfan video was not the only one. That was him. I linked his channel and both of his videos in the description of the video. It's just nice. It's a nice thing to do. No, you don't have to do it. I just think it's an honorable thing to do. But that's just me. That's just me. All right, let's get to some of your questions here. Questions. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, hang on. There we go. Bass player 2011. I guess I'm going to find out. No, he doesn't tell me, so I don't know. I'm going to say it could be iFi or iffy. I don't know. Can't say I care what's going on with current DC Comics as long as the omnibus and oversized hardcovers keep coming. Oh, and they will. Those are never going to stop coming. Those are fine. As for the Punisher, the Max series is very much a thing. One of the few times I could be thankful for non-canon stories. Yeah. Garth Ennis's run. Welcome back, Frank. And then when it goes in the Max, and damn, one of the best ones I've ever read was Punisher fighting Wolverine. And Derek Robertson did the art for that one. Thank you for the $50, by the way. And like the Wolverine ends up a skeleton, which is, it's funny. It's funny. But then there was the Wolverine run. I'll never forget this because this was like when I first started noticing the SJW stuff, right? So I was excited to see Wolverine drawn by Derek Robertson because Derek had said, like, I'm going to draw him like he's supposed to be, like short, squat Wolverine. Now they forced him to change because of the comics, and he was none too happy about it. But in the Greg Rucka run, who was just, he is like one of the patient zeros of SJW Marvel and DC. I've been looking for it, but it's in the first few issues where Wolverine basically complains about gun ownership. Like a guy who's got a Conan kill count complains about gun ownership. Rucka also had Wonder Woman lecture the Flash on the environment and forest fires. And those were like within a year of each other. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? That's when the lecturing started. You know, when we say political, that's specifically, we mean when it sounds like the writer is lecturing us, which, I mean, now there's entire comics that sound like that. Tracy Wilborn, for $5 on the donation side, says, I claim a quarter of your sandwich, Gary, but don't worry. I'll give it back tomorrow or the next day. Congratulations on the move to Texas. Thank you. If all goes well, I'll be moving there early next year. Good, Tracy. Texas, I think, is very well. This is what they've told me. They're very welcoming to people who practice common sense and basically people who won't vote for Beto for governor, which I won't. No chance of that happening, unless, of course, somebody votes for me. And thank you, Tracy. And that's great to hear. Great to hear. Good luck, and keep me posted. Ike Fear for $50 on the donation side. Thank you. Hail, Gary. Last week, you were talking about the history of violence in the Southwest. You should listen to the audiobooks Empire of the Summer Moon and Blood Meridian, the most violent book I've ever read. Take care. I will check them both out. Yeah, the brutality of the American Southwest, it's a miracle we're here. It was, I mean, we've all been brutal. I was just talking to Az last night about how brutal his country was. We were talking about the War of the Roses. And I don't know if, I think this was in the War of the Roses where, and like, I'm not, listen, I very passing knowledge of the War of the Roses, we'll just say. Basically what I learned in Game of Thrones special features. But was it King Richard, who locked away the two princes for life, the heirs to the throne, two like kids, just locked them up for life? What a dick. You guys were terrible. But here we are. Do we erase everything? Do we destroy everything because, I don't know, civilization was built on the bones and blood of the innocent? No, that's how every civilization was built. And quite frankly, while I wouldn't judge it, I'm not really good, nor do I want to be in the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. I don't look that great in a loincloth, we'll just say. Enoch Maman for $5 says, oh, that's part 6. Oh, my Lord. Wait. We got a 6-parter from Enoch Maman. Lot to say. All right, we're going to do this. And I'm going to try to read it on the Streamlabs side, which puts all the words in like a perfect square, and they don't care if like don't. They just separated don't with a D, and then it goes own't. So, I mean, I'm not the best reader in the world. Anyway, let's see if I can do it. I'm going to be honest.
I don't care if the Batman is really good or not. I personally believe that streaming has ruined all movies. Let me explain. As you are well aware, first season of TV shows that start out good, Umbrella Academy, The Boys, etc., end up having a woke second season. We are like this, Anak Maman. And they just get woker from there. I noticed something similar with the Suicide Squad. The ally of the movie was good. It was anti-woke. Then Peacemaker came out and the spinoff was woke. It was incredibly woke. And I suspected it would be. I did. Didn't even bother finishing it. Everybody's like, I know some people were praising it, but not many. It's going to get a season 2. And it makes me worry for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But as I said, Hollywood's still trapped in 2019. I continue. By the way, $10. Another $10 from Anak Man, Part 3. I think that was intentional. Now that the studios care so much about streaming services, they're going to create good movies and have woke TV spinoffs. We're going to get 2 new shows of this movie, one about the GCPD and one about the Penguin. I could care less about another peripheral Batman show. Fuck another peripheral Batman show. I'm not going to watch the GCPD. Why? By all accounts, they're horrible in the Batman. And Colin Farrell looks good in the makeup and everything, but why? We got a Pennyworth show. We had a Gotham show with a kid Batman. We've had Birds of Prey. I mean, just show me Batman. Part 4, the police show will be about systematic racism and BLM. You're right. While the Penguin show will be about a woman who works at his nightclub and #MeToo stuff. By the way, intersectional feminism. I guarantee the sequel to the Batman will have Tom King crap. This movie doesn't. Yes. And we're talking about a bad reboot, Disciple. All right. Bird doesn't change, a leopard doesn't change its spots. And knock them on for $10 more, Part 5. Until studios walk back all this woke crap, I don't care. I'm not getting involved in any franchise, TV, movie, or otherwise. I'm tired of getting my heart ripped out of my chest and shat on. They haven't earned my trust, loyalty, and certainly not my money. Fuck Hollywood, and God bless the Fellowship. Oh. That is $55. Thank you, Enoch Maman. I appreciate it. And yeah, they need to earn our trust back. I just saw The King's Man. I liked it a lot. I recommend it. Find whatever way you want to watch it. Maybe you already subscribe to a service that has it. I think it's on a couple. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's on HBO Max. So if you already have HBO Max, you can watch The King's Man. And I can say it certainly has casting that can be considered woke, but it's not woke. It's absolutely not woke. Every character is treated, it makes sense. Matthew Vaughn is one of the last directors with any kind of stones in Hollywood. One of the last few, I'll say. I'll say Nolan still has stones, and love him or hate him, Quentin Tarantino still has stones as well. But Matthew Vaughn, I think, is honestly one of the most talented, and I would pick him over Nolan for a superhero film because of the way he shoots action. It's like a slightly toned down Guy Ritchie, but the way he shoots fights it's tailor made for like a Daredevil film. He would be great at directing a Daredevil film. And you know what? Matthew Vaughn has had a Superman movie that he's been wanting to make for a decade now. And Warner Brothers, the dumbest company on the planet, doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do it. Phoenix Tangent for $50 on the Streamlabs side. Says, "Hail Gary, I've been lurking lately because I started a new job. Congratulations. At the beginning of February, it's been keeping me busy, which is good. And it's in an industry that, that's in Texas. There you go. Glad the move to Texas went well. But comics will have to take you to a better barbecue." Oh, well, dude, that was like, I was in, I forgot the name of the place too. I liked it. And I think it was like a fast food barbecue place, but it was like in a town in the middle of nowhere. It had a fort for Fort Collins. Fort Collins. Don't even know where Fort Collins is. But the people were nice and the barbecue was fine. There's a deli. I can't say the name of the deli because if I did, you know, it's in the area where I live, but it's really good. It's really, really good. And it's considered one of the better restaurants in Texas. And I'm very thankful for that. Haven't found good pizza yet. I just asked Comics today, and he recommended a good pizza joint that will give me my beloved pineapple on my pizza. Yes. Yes. I was a little worried that I'm going to have to like force some pizza joint around here to put pineapple, but I guess there is some civilization here. I'm kidding. Slightly. All right. We're going to get back to your questions in just a mo. So Lord of the Rings has been, what was I on? I was on chat. That's where I was. I can't see my screen right now. Lord of the Rings has been quite a subject. I'm surprised. I am still surprised. We're like 2 weeks into this and I'm blown away at the response. People coming together. I'm blown away. Yeah, the algorithm was insane. Nothing lasts forever, but it was insane. And I mean, I could have made 10 more videos, especially off of this article that we're going to see right now. Holy shit. This article. Baby boy Ryan went over it in his live stream last night. Somebody did email it to me a couple of days ago. Let's see. I need to go to my new folder. Oh, now it's gone. Now it just disappeared. Sorry, give me a second. My bookmark folder kind of looks like, see, I don't do like 75 tabs, but I do have a bookmark folder with like 1,000 bookmarks in it. So it takes a minute to scroll down. I'll just sit here and wait. It's scrolling as we speak. Still scrolling. It's still scrolling. Still scrolling. This is about 3 years worth of bookmarks. Still scrolling, by the way. And no hands. So there's like a little arrow you can put your cursor on and it just goes. There, it finally stopped. All right. And where did it go? Oh my God. Screw this. To find the article, I just put the conversation, Lord of the Rings, white people. And I found it. Here we go. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. The conversation. Academic. Okay, I'm going to say this slowly. Rigor. That's what it says right there RIGOR, right here, and journalistic flair. Never heard of it. Lord of the Rings debunking the backlash against non-white actors in Amazon's new adaptation. So before we even begin, I have said in multiple videos, I did not expect Lord of the Rings on Prime to be lily white. There are ways you could have been very inclusive and diverse through the race of man. And nobody would have said a thing. But not only did you give us a dwarf that just looks like a human, they're very different, by the way, very, very different. You gave us a Sylvan elf with a perfect haircut, which I think is more of an offense than the female dwarf not having a beard. The perfect haircut. Now, I'm not saying every elf has to have like super long hair, but where'd you get the clippers? That's laziness. It's also, I believe, this is just my theory, that the powers that be who worked on it were so afraid to put a wig on a person of color, as they call it. And if they would have asked the actors to do either, I'm betting the actors would have just said, sure, we got a job at Lord of the Rings. Put a fucking wig on me. I don't care. No, this is, again, we never really call out. The actors took a job. That's fine. I don't blame them for taking a job. I blame the powers that be for using identities, races, cultures to advance their own causes, we'll just say. So there was the Den of Geek article that I covered a little bit in my video where they equated fans who are partaking in the backlash to a racist summer camp in Spain from the 1970s and two racially motivated murderers or murderers, racist murderers, basically. Because you want some lore to be respected. That's how far they're going. That's how insane this thing is. That's how dumb it is. And that's how you know you're winning. When they have to stretch it, and I mean that is a stretch beyond belief. And trust me, it's a good thing. Because most, can never say all, can never say never, most people with a brain in their head will read that and go, that's a bit of a stretch. You might disagree. You might not care that there's a black elf or a black dwarf, but saying that the people who care are somehow related to racially motivated killings from a decade ago or a racist summer camp from 1970s Spain, that's insane. You're going to very, it just sounds like you really need to be right. And you're not. Unfortunately. Fortunately, the Access media is getting their asses beat. Strange that it's only been shared 13 times on Twitter, but 2,300 times on Facebook. But those could be positive and negative shares. I would imagine they're probably negative shares considering the ratio. The Superfans video, which is still getting ratioed, by the way, even though it's unlisted, I think it has something like, it only had a few hundred likes to tens of, I can't say, it was like 40,000 dislikes, 30,000 dislikes, something like that. Or maybe it was up to 70. I can't remember. We'll take a look later. And again, props to Disparu for pointing out that there's multiple cuts. They were acting in that video. They were acting. There was multiple takes. J.R.R. Tolkien's much-loved fantasy, The Lord of the Rings, is a work of epic scale portraying races of imaginary beings in the medievalesque setting of Middle-earth. culminating in a battle of good against evil. Peter Jackson's films adaptations in the early 2000s established the iconography and aesthetics that many fans grew up with and consider almost sacred. I mean, if you think you can do better, do better. You like that phrase, do better. If you think you can do better than what Peter Jackson did, then do better. But as it stands, it's a pretty good adaptation for mass appeal. Tolkien probably would have hated it. But I don't know because the man's dead, and I'm not going to presume I know. There's things I do know, though. There's things I fucking know. Like, he made it clear in multiple letters, multiple interviews. The man is very hard to understand. If you ever listen to interviews, I recommend if you're going to listen to him, slow the speed down a little bit because he talks really fast. And he bumbles over his words, but it's because the dude was like, he was a superior intellect. So his brain moves so fast. I mean, the guy was just fucking smart. He was just fucking smart. Smarter than any of the morons adapting any of this shit combined. Now Amazon's new adaptation of Tolkien's world is coming to our screens in September. Yeah, we know. But it's diverse casting, which includes non-white actors playing an elf and a female dwarf, which has caused the uproar. I would say initially caused the uproar, but it's not for what they're going to say. It shows the disrespect of lore. That's all I really care about. I was going off about Galadriel, and I still am. I'm going off about cramming 1,600 years into a 2-week span. I'm going off against repurposing stories from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. That's my beef. And I'm definitely going to go against some, if they take the forbidden love of Beren and Luthien and repurpose it into Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Yeah, that'll piss me off too, because that is bringing something from the real world into Tolkien. And he specifically kept that out. Years and years, people have gone, well, I'm like, yes, some of his experiences went in there. But as his son said, if there's any specific politics, it's in the solution, if it's there at all. And those interviews I put in my video, like I've gone over them in live streams a couple years ago. I've got a whole file of interviews and links to interviews that I've watched tons of them, tons and tons of them. And they're really good. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Tolkien was more interested in metaphysical than biological questions. He was towards the end of his life, yes, absolutely. He was, Christopher Tolkien says it, that he became obsessed later on in life with trying to find a way, trying to really figure out what a immortal being would be like. Like, to get as close of an answer as he possibly could. Which is impossible, but the man tried. Reinventing Tolkien for the 21st century. Now, I would not have liked it, but if Amazon came out and said that's what they're doing, it's a little more honest. But you know why they didn't come out and say that? Because they know what kind of backlash they'd get. Here's the conundrum Amazon's in, one of Hollywood's own making, and Amazon is a big enough country, practically as a company, to say fuck all this, by the way, and nothing would have happened to them. But they are so afraid of people who write for some unknown fucking website called The Conversation that they're willing to burn their billion-dollar project to not upset them, so they won't be called racist or say they're perpetuating white supremacy by just casting white actors in a medieval setting that's supposed to be a mythology for England. And conflating what Tolkien fans think about a story, Tolkien's work, with how Tolkien fans look at life in general is, I mean, it's disingenuous and it's evil. So they talk about, Ryan caught this. Adaptation theory. Oh, I guess they fixed it. I guess they misspelled it. They talk about Prometheus, the version of the play presented. I don't care. Here we go. The version of the play with Black Prometheus. Yeah, whatever. That's mythology. You can play with that as much as you want. It's a shared mythology. We don't even know who the freaking author is. If there was an author at all, maybe this mythology. There are some theories that mythology is just history told in the form of story, how the people at the time could interpret it, like actual events, like events that cosmic events. You know, Icarus could have been something like a comet or something that they saw, and they just made a story out of it. That's what I mean. But a disgruntled fans might reason, if Amazon must have diverse cast in this drama, why not stick with just having actors of color play the characters who are dark-skinned in Tolkien's text? But that would perpetuate and reinforce the racialized view of good and evil in Middle-earth. Evil is very inclusive. I'll just say that. I think it's pretty obvious. It's very inclusive. It's not just white. That doesn't sound like what you're saying, though. You're saying it perpetuates a racism that was already in Tolkien. So you're calling the man a racist already. Despite Tolkien's overall message of friendship and cooperation, despite his raging against Yahtzees and the face of evil in Middle-earth, is invariably non-white, non-European. Well, many have brought this up. Maybe the Easterlings had a beef with Gondor. Maybe Gondor, in trade or whatever. And nobody assumed. They even talk about it in Peter Jackson's films with Faramir, looking down at his smited enemy. And he looks down at him and he goes, was the guy evil? I'm paraphrasing, obviously. It makes devils out of all of us. It's terrible. I love that scene, by the way. Tolkien's portrayal of orcs, legions of evil creatures, and the men who ally themselves with Sauron, the arch-villain of Lord of the Rings, use many stereotypes associated with Orientalism. Beautiful. Orientalism. Exure girl. And the language of prejudice often found in literature from the era of British imperialism. Tolkien was born and grew up in the late Victorian and Edwardian periods. Yes. But again, here's your opportunity to add some complexity to the Easterlings. One of the Nazgul is an Easterling. But one of the Nazgul is also a Númenorian. It might not even be a black Númenorian. And we don't know who the rest are. So, orcs are mutilated elves, basically. So, again, I don't know. It's I don't know what you're seeing when you see an orc. I just see an orc. Isn't it interesting, though, that we haven't seen them? Oh, man. So when do you think we're going to get a full-on trailer? I think Amazon is probably going to have to think long and hard about that one. And probably like 3 months before the show comes out. So I'm guessing in another 3 months, we'll see a full trailer. Interesting. House of the Dragon is not going to come out in April. They just finished. So it's supposed to come out in fall. It might be coming out around the same time. Reproducing this white, non-white divide along moral lines would endorse a very old-fashioned and harmful equation of physical characteristics with moral choices. No. But Tolkien would have hated it. Even if we somehow knew what Tolkien would have thought about the new Amazon series, it wouldn't matter. The author sold his rights to The Lord of the Rings during his lifetime and signed away his rights to have a substantial influence over any new adaptation. Not true. The Tolkien estate has some substantial rights over what is made. They're just not that picky. They're just counting their money. It doesn't matter. So now you sound like a fucking dumb shit. It doesn't matter. Well, of course not. He's dead. And so you're saying if he was alive, it doesn't matter. Tell you what, when George Lucas says something about Star Wars, does it fucking matter? He doesn't have any say over it. But does it matter? You bet your fucking ass it matters. It becomes law if he says something. That's why he's probably encouraged by Disney not to say very much. But Mahler just put up a little teaser for his video that comes out, I believe, March 4th. Set your clocks to it. I can't fucking wait to see it. TFA Part 4, where George Lucas is basically, breaking it down that corporations they're crap, they're garbage. They're just making sequels and requels and prequels and shriekquels, and they just don't give a shit. They're not going to take any more chances. We're not seeing any chances. And I tweeted today that thank God, I'm paraphrasing myself, thank God that Conan and Elric are unadaptable in current times. Now, some people might misinterpret that going, good, those two sexist. And that's not what I fucking meant. I meant those two, they're too fucking masculine. It's too badass to produce now. And that's good. It's bad for poor Michael Moorcock, who ain't going to get his payday, but especially since I think he's still around, but he's not been the healthiest guy. He did party quite a bit. Man dropped a lot of acid, but so did I, so I'm not judging. But some even believe Tolkien writing a mythology for England and used myths and texts from Germanic cultures that had nothing to do with people of color. However, Tolkien never actually referred to his own work in that way. The phrase was introduced by his biographer, Humphrey Carpenter, except I showed in my video where he did. So please go to my video, because when Christopher Tolkien is reading, he's reading directly from his dad. Do your homework, people. I am not an expert. He left space for other minds, other hands. He meant fans and people. And if you want to write your little fan fiction, nobody's against that. We're not talking about other minds and other hands. We're talking about $1 trillion corporation. So other minds aren't involved in this. There's plenty of dirty hands involved in this, but no minds. Why do you think Amazon hired J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay? Because they're going to be two little lick-spittle yes men from an organization of lick-spittle yes men and repurposers. The worst one that's ever existed. Bad Reboot has been the worst scourge on Hollywood ever. Creative bankruptcy packaged to perfection. Just go look at the body of work by Jar Jar Abrams. Sense8, or not, so why did I say Sense8? Super 8 was supposed to be his homage to a Spielberg film. A guy he knew missed the mark by 1,000 miles with that. Cloverfield, Blair Witch with monsters. He's just repurposed his shit. And Cloverfield might be one of the better works. He didn't direct it, obviously. Directed by Matt Reeves, I believe. Alias. Just mystery box. I liked the first 2 seasons till I realized, oh, this shit ain't going anywhere. Fringe. That's all right. Mystery box. Ended up not really going anywhere at the end, but it had some interesting stuff. Fuck Lost. Sorry. I was out on Lost after the first season. By the way, everybody predicted the ending within the first season. And then, you know, what he did with Star Trek and Star Wars. Of course, the man at least was honest when he said, I don't like Star Trek. I've never been into Star Trek. Yet they still gave him the fucking franchise. So whose fault is that? And how would you feel if you're Warner Brothers and you gave this guy $500 million and then he pops up at Paramount saying he's going to make another Star Trek movie and in beautiful Jar Jar Abrams fashion announces a cast that he hadn't talked to yet? But why would audiences these days think of England as white anyway? Hang on. Just a moment. Just checking my facts here. Percentage. England, 85.3%. Wales, 95.5%. Scotland, 95%. Yeah, I don't know why people would think that. And listen, I don't care. I don't want this shit to matter. It's these motherfuckers who are, this is why we're having these conversations anyway. Instead of just making original stories, make them diverse, nobody fucking says anything. Nobody complained about it with the Expanse. When it started out great, it eventually went woke, but went woke in its themes. The diversity actually fit perfectly in that series. It made perfect sense. And they never, in the beginning, because it was before 2016 when they made this, talked about it. No, it's the introduction of identity politics is the reason we're even having these fucking dumb fucking conversations. And we're sitting here arguing over a story that we know is just not being right. And these fuckers are just doing mental gymnastics that you would not believe to try to justify the clear desecration and vandalization of work. If you ground Lord of the Rings in reality, it's already failed. It's failed. It will not work. It is pure escapism. If we see like an immigration allegory with the flight of the Noldor or some shit, oh, and they bring up Thor, mixing up the Norse mythology with Tessa Thompson and Idris Elba. Yeah, that's been super popular, hasn't it? Idris Elba was killed off. And Tessa Thompson's one of the least talented actresses who keeps getting roles. She can smirk. I'm looking for one particular phrase here. The country has become a vibrant, England has become a vibrant melt. You mean London? Nothing. 85%. Okay. Once it airs, the new Amazon series will be here. Once it airs, the new Amazon series will be critiqued by academics and fans alike for more of its choices regarding plot, which is really my main problem, characterization and setting, and the introduction into modernism. We'll get modern themes, intersectional feminism, critical race theory. We're already starting to see that. But judging the casting based on skin color and claiming Middle Earth as exclusively white is not just misguided, it clearly exposes the researcher Helen Young called fantasy's habits of whiteness. Okay, if they cast a white Lord of the Rings, you wouldn't have said anything? Bullshit. 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 Go fuck yourself. Un momento, por favor. Okay. Each adaptation is a new text, and each is an opportunity to update outdated and unacceptable tropes and find ways to represent and normalize non-white characters. So being white is an unacceptable trope with certain characters. Accuracy with mythology and history is an unacceptable trope. I'd respect him more. I mean, this is pretty much what she's coming out to say, or they. I'm assuming this is a she. It's written like a she. If they just said what they really mean. If they just said what they really mean. It's fucking unbelievable. Then we go to, where am I? There we go. Then we go to The Den of Geek. I didn't read this in my video. I did, but it hit the cutting room floor. So I'm going to read it here. What this guy equates to fandom. By the way, it brings up Kelly Marie Tran, just like all the same shit that Forbes brought up over and over again, and 100 other articles. I've done multiple videos on articles like this. There we go. 1970. There we go. Lord of the Rings has already been co-opted by the far right, despite Tolkien being on record as hating apartheid, British and American imperialism in the Far East, raging against Yazidis and their interpretation of his work. Sound familiar with the other article? Does it? So basically, if you're classic liberal, basically if you're part of the backlash, you're a Nazi. Their view right now, thanks to their rhetoric, thanks to their disingenuous rhetoric, is if you're a Republican, if you are a conservative, you're a Nazi. And you were just all for these things. Interpretation of his work as an Aryan allegory. He was asked by German publishers in 1938, this is true, and he shot back with saying no and go fuck yourself, basically. This has just some guy read his response in one of his reviews. He wrote a letter basically saying, absolutely not. And there's no allegory of those wonderful people. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. This has continued to be the case. In 1970s Italy, there were Hobbit summer camps run by a burgeoning right-wing movement who marketed themselves as not your father's fascist, a sense of traditionalism, or restoring the apparently glorious past. You do know what Lord of the Rings is about. Well, apparently they do, because they follow it up with this. Drove them and connected them to Tolkien's work, and unfortunately for Tolkien, there are parallels to be made. I'm glad he's not alive to see this. Fans of Tolkien include Gianluca Casari and Anders Breivik, both racially motivated murders. Varg Vikernes, a black metal musician, murderer, anti-Semite, and scientific racist, i.e. someone who misapplies science to support their racism. You mean like SJWs? Given its previous connections with fascism and the response to Peter Jackson's films, it's sadly not surprising to see Lord of the Rings fandom engaging in a culture war campaign since at least 2014 with Gate. There's been momentum that has been built. Different fandoms. And they bring up all the sad puppy and rabbit puppy shit, which are totally different things. Okay. My specific problem with The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, the treatment of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. The characters of Rey, Finn, and Poe aren't characters enough for me to even be troubled with. They're paper-thin nothings. My problem with Disney Star Wars is the treatment of Han and Luke. Period. End of story. I would have been fine with the female lead. I think the Black Stormtrooper was fine. It was cool. It was intriguing with Finn. I thought that was intriguing. A stormtrooper running away, rebelling. That would have been cool. But Disney made him a janitor. I didn't make him a janitor. Disney made him a janitor. Jar Jar Abrams and Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, the genius, made him a janitor. Not the fandom. The problem I have with Star Trek Discovery, is it Michael Burnham being a captain? No, she's just a bad character. It's a terribly written character. Star Trek, seeing a black female captain would be so. Because it's Star Trek. Doctor Who. I have been on record, remain on record, and will never change my mind. The Doctor is a male character. Black male? Sure. Filipino male? Sure. Asian? Sure. South American? Sure. No problem. With British accent, though. But a dude. A dude. And, quite frankly, all of our complaints, they bring up Ghostbusters 2016. What happened there? Oh, we got Ghostbusters Afterlife. Star Wars, what happened there? They've lost half their fans. Oh, how can I say that? Well, let's just wait until the next movie comes out. And it'll have to be a Darth Vader movie, or they'll recast Luke Skywalker. You notice they're not like rushing out to do anything new because they can't. Sure, they'll invest in a hotel. Doctor Who, what do? They had to get Russell T Davies back. All-time low ratings. Star Trek, it's cooked. It's done. Nobody talks about it. Very few people watch it. It's basically a lower tier CW show. It's Star Trek Discovery is Niobe, is Batwoman. That's what it is. The mighty, once respected Star Trek franchise. Multiple hit films in the 80s. Part of our culture. Dust. DC Comics just got kicked out of their own building. I could go on. But no, your argument is bigot. Somebody mentioned last night. I got to go here. Let me look at the IMDb. Bum. I'm taking a look at Halo because I want to see who the executive producers are. There's a full cast of crew. Okay. Paramount produces Star Trek Discovery. So Jeremy's concern about Halo, I think is pretty valid. We saw what happened to The Last of Us Part 2. We saw what happened to He-Man. Yeah, like we've seen this story before. We're seeing what's happening to Marvel, to the MCU. In other words, we've seen this before, and all you've got is bigot, and it's just not working anymore. When you still got to bring up Kelly Marie fucking Tran and 2016 Ghostbusters, especially after Afterlife has come out. I mean, bruh. All right, your questions, your comments. Marcus Paulo for 5 is the, I don't know what this is. It could be a ruble. It could be a ruble. I'm fine even with the dark elf, but subverting the Tolkien narrative is unacceptable. That's the most unacceptable thing. What it tells me, what the casting tells me is they are going to fuck with the lore very hard. And we're going to get, when you see a Star Trek Discovery writer on staff, a lot of you haven't seen Star Trek Discovery. Worst writing in television. Bar none. Worst writing in television. One of the tropes of Abram, you can call him a Jar Jar Abranism, is they aren't concerned with details and canon and time and distance. Like, these things don't matter to him. It doesn't matter if something makes sense. Saru, a character in Star Trek Discovery, made a communicator to escape from, he was trapped in a chamber by punching his fist through the floor, and he just so happened to find a device that communicates with the ship by just punching a floor and pulling a bit of the device out. I mean, it's that random, lots of random chance. I'm sure if you guys went and saw the Star Trek movies in the theater, you know how much random chance there is in those things. That's an Abramism. Kryptonic for $27.99 Canadian. Love your content. I know this isn't Lord of the Rings. That's fine. I'm not a Lord of the Rings channel. I like it a lot. I'm going to talk about it a lot, but I'll talk about anything. But I've held off watching Picard because of some of the things I've heard about it being woke. As a huge fan of TNG, I was excited to watch it. Should I watch it? No. Absolutely not. I owe everybody a review, and just because season 2 is coming out, it's not going to stop it. I promised it'll get done. It's the Last Jedi of Star Trek. It's unrecognizable. Let me spoil something for you to save you time. He dies at the end. He dies, and they put his consciousness into a golem of the same age. If you know, in continuity, he's 97. 97. People live longer. That makes sense. I'm fine with it. But he's 97. And when he dies and they put him in a golem, they decided to put him in a 97-year-old body. Yes, Star Trek Picard is as stupid as Star Trek Discovery. Go watch TNG again. Pick up a new series. Watch Reacher. It's good. Reacher's good. The Kingsman's good. At what point are normal people just going to say, fuck it? And say, hail, I don't think so. Crash 6674. I don't think they're going to go that far. I think people will just stop at the fuck it. They're just, fuck it. Bye. Because, look at it. Most people you run into in real life and not on the internet, even on the internet too, are nice people. They're fine. They're fine. They're not, they're ever, I say most people are centrist. Most people are centrist. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that. I think there's some people who will just, they're adults. They're fully grown adults. They'll vote by the issue. They'll just judge things by the issue. Their minds will be open. Their minds will be changed. It's when we get together in masses, especially blue check marks, where things get particularly retarded. But no, I think just most people have been saying fuck it. I don't think a lot of people. I think with the Rings of Power, curiosity will bring people into the first couple of episodes, and it might even hook them in if they're like actually just the history of Middle Earth. But once the story gets started and you start hearing Tolkien's dialogue interpreted by two guys from Bad Reboot with little to no experience, and you'll go, this doesn't sound like Tolkien. Sam Perea, thank you for the 10 British pounds, proper money. Thank you. And Crash 6674, thank you for the $5. And Marcus Paulo says, hello, my friend. Is it awkward that they judge every critic by supremacist? Yes, they do. You're not a racist if you just go, hey, that's kind of weird casting. Like Anne Boleyn. I call her Anne Boleyn. The historical figure that they cast, a black woman who gets beheaded, by the way. It's ridiculous. People are being used. It's utterly comical. We're in parody world. They really want you to not be critical. So they try to shut you down at every turn. So they're just going to call you the worst things possible because they don't have arguments, because they're trying to hide what they're doing. Gary, thanks for all the entertainment and inspiration. Channels like yours make others want to try YouTube. Good. A lot of content creators try to discourage you and tell you how terrible things are now. And listen, it's not the Wild West it was in 2010. Wish it was, but it's not. But depending on what you want to do, jump on, because the more of us are here, then there's a better chance than common sense sticks around. If we keep running from fucking platforms and going to other platforms and going all these other, it's good to have backups. You got to have a plan B. Absolutely. But I'm staying here, staying on Discord, staying on Twitter. Fuck it. I'm going to annoy the shit out of them until I get kicked off. That's my stance from now on. And yes, I do realize some of the money is going to some evil corporation. I understand that. Now, you could certainly take a stand with certain things where I know I can remove my cash from Disney Plus or something like that. But when it comes to, I'm still on Google. But does it make me feel a little better that I'm withholding a bunch of cash from Disney that I would normally give to them as a fan of Marvel? Yes, it does. It does. But definitely try it. It's a good hobby. Like I said, it's better than I've tried a lot of hobbies. I like hobbies. I think hobbies are good for the soul. And this is a fairly, as far as a hobby is concerned, it's a fairly easy one. I'm close to starting my own after months of prep while balancing a 9-to-5 life. Tough, but worth it. Absolutely. John sells for $15. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name. I did this working a 9-to-5 for years. And it was just a couple of podcasts a month. That's all it was. And yeah, definitely start it. And it's good that you prep for it. I didn't even do that. Chris Goodwin for $10 says Bill Whittle. Bill Whittle? I don't know. Oh, wow. I'm tripping out. It's like, it says March on my list here. But it's March for you guys out there. Bill Whittle. That might have been something I was talking about earlier. Sorry, Chris. Murph Ballad Celestials for $2 says, check out the Ballad of the Celestial on Indiegogo. And it's called the Ballad of the Celestials. Sorry, on Indiegogo. Check it out. I haven't, but you can. Summit Ranger for $9.99. So where I need help is know what the best movie is after I read them. Should I sell them by themselves or wait till I have a full run, then sell them? Oh, are you talking about comic books, Summit? So if you have a comic book run that's based on a film, you absolutely want to sell them before the film comes out. I would say set up if that's what you're talking about. So if you have a first appearance of, or you have, So Long Halloween, for example. I don't know if it's going up in price, but it's rumored that this is somewhat based on elements of Long Halloween, the Batman film. It might boost it in price. It might not. I don't know. But if you want to sell it, you'll get maximum value right up till the movie's released. That's generally what I've seen. If there is, like before WandaVision came out, the first appearance of Monica Rambeau probably went up right up until the time WandaVision came out. Eternals, like the Jack Kirby Eternals run that got canceled at issue 17, 18, 19, 20, can't remember, went way up in value up until when the movie came out. Now, if you want to buy this stuff, never buy it up until, wait till the movies have been out and a couple of years after that. Then you're saving money. But as far as selling, yeah, you're getting, unless it's like a massive hit, you're risking losing money. Sell it before the movie comes out. So I need your guidance, says Summit Ranger for $9.99. I was gifted a print subscription from my family where they prepaid for 12 single issues of ahead of time. Oh, of comics? Oh, boy. It depends on like how old you can get. But yeah, you're getting modern comics. And I'd be the last guy to ask because I'm not reading modern comics anymore. I stopped about a year and a half ago. But if you could still find some old, like, oh boy, I could not recommend anything in the last few years from Marvel and DC. Just couldn't. I'm sure there's some good stuff, but I doubt it. Abu Nas. Is this the president? It's the president. Wanted to give you a well-deserved shout out. Been watching your videos on Lord of the Rings debacle and it's glorious. My ex-wife saw me watching your latest video and she said that she loved it too. Salute, bro. Rock on. You too, brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You still talking to your ex-wife? I salute you. That's good that you guys can stay friends. And I thank you. The way I do that is I make the breakups clean, man. Just gotta. I can't see my wife hanging out with my ex-wife. Just can't. It's such a ridiculous thought. It makes me laugh. But now, Abu Nas. Azroth Hunter for $20 says, you are right. And he says it twice. Did you mean to put that in there twice, Azroth? If you did not mean to put that in there twice, email me, Gary@nerdrotic.com, and I'll refund that, okay? I think I can, because it's a, yeah, I'll have to PayPal it to you. But yeah, if that was an accident, because that happens from time to time with fucking YouTube. So if that ever happens, like you accidentally put through a super chat twice, just contact me, okay? John, again, that's Gary@nerdrotic.com. John for $5 says, first super chat. Ooh, be gentle. Is the anime you talked about on Friday Night Tights Parasite the Maxim? If so, that is one of my favorite stories of all time. Yes, it is. Melissa and I are watching it, and we love it. I know everybody's saying the print version is better, and yeah, they usually are, but I think the anime is really good. I like the animation. That's the kind of animation I like. That's the anime that I like. It's not too kiddie, if you know what I mean. So I think it's really well done. And unfortunately, my home theater right now is just piled with boxes, or I would have finished it right now. Actually, that's what I have to do after this, because the wife's getting on me because we want to finish that. No, it's excellent. That was sent to me as a housewarming gift by Anime Kemi S1, and I want to thank them again. I really appreciate it, dude, because it's the shit. And he's sent me so much shit that I've got to get through it all, and I can't wait. Like if like I get tons of anime recommendations, and it's like a whole new world for me, right? And it's very cool considering there's so much shit out there. It's just nice to see. And it came out in 2014 it came out. It's even got a catchy little theme song. I like it. Thanks, John. Yeah, Parasite the Maxim. Juan Lopez for $10. I'd recommend Dick's Last Resort in San Antonio. It's a place where they insult you while you eat. Well, Juan Lopez, thank you for the recommendation. That's actually one of my wife's favorite restaurants. And you know where it started? San Diego. That's right. The first Dick's Last Resort was in downtown San Diego. And now you have one in the Gaslamp. There's also one in Vegas. And let's see if I can remember what casino it's in. I want to say it's Excalibur. It's Excalibur, right? I think it's Excalibur. I can't wait to go to Vegas. Going to Vegas in April, and then we're going to do a meetup in August, or maybe sooner. Maybe sooner, now that the mask mandates. Maybe we'll move that up. I got to talk to Jeremy, because we got to get Orlando planned, and then once we get Orlando planned, then I will announce the Texas meetup, and then we'll do a Vegas meetup. So we'll do 3 this year: Texas, Vegas, Orlando. So I think Vegas and Orlando will definitely be like Nerdrotic Geeks and Gamers. I don't want to commit the guys to Texas. If they want to come, then it'll be a Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic, but I don't want to overextend my bros. But we'll see. I'm sure they'll come out. Orlando's going to be the big one, though. That's going to be Vegas will be good too. Don't worry. We're probably going to do it in the same place because I like that place, and Alex is the owner. The Millennium Fandom Bar. It's like a geek bar. The one thing I'll do different this time is I'm going to rent out the whole bar. I only rented out like a room last time. I'm going to rent out the whole motherfucking bar. And it's on, well, right now I'll speak for me. It's on me. So yeah, we don't charge for meetups. Just get out there if you can. It's our thank you to you. That's what it was last year, Friday Night Tights meetup. And it was our thank you to, well, everybody here at Nerdrotic and everybody who watches Friday Night Tights, everybody who, It supported the channel over the years and still does. It was it's the least we can do. Dick's Last Resort is good, though. I do like it. Fantastic Mr. Knox for $5 Australian, but it also may have been giving us good stuff too. And it's good to see the people fighting back against this crap that's been shoved to us. Keep up the fight. Absolutely fantastic, Mr. Knox. It has been inspiring watching you guys. And what was funny is every time a narrative starts, like, you're just repeating yourself. You're saying the same thing. That's not really doing anything. It's not really changing anything. Well, if you expect things to change in a year, it's not going to look like it's changing. But every time somebody starts piping up like that, something like this happens. The universe tends to unfold as it should. And this shit's ending, folks. It is. It's going to take 2 years to kind of work its way out. I didn't see an end in sight in 2020. Looked pretty bleak. 2019, it looked pretty good. Things look pretty good. But as I said in 2019, 2020, 2021, and last week, I don't know if we're going to save any franchises. I don't know. But it's not about just saving a franchise. It's about bringing some balance back to our culture. And the thing I'm most encouraged about is I'm starting to see, fuck the access media. They're a lost cause. But I'm starting to see political pundits on our side. Now they'll think it's far right, but it's Tim Pool, Daily Wire, and I know not everybody loves those organizations and everybody's there. That's fine. But the fact that they acknowledge us and we're getting shout outs on Red State, or Jeremy and Ryan are doing videos for Daily Wire and they're getting invited to the Blaze, and I'm getting invited to Tim Pool, and, Drunk 3PO showing up in the news. This is how we win. And then you guys, like, if you just post on Twitter, like some of you guys are popping up in news articles now. Like, I think a Lady Gravemaster ended up in a news article. So that's fucking cool. That's us winning. But it's a battle. It's a battle. Will Amazon change their ways? They can't in season 1 and 2, but maybe they do in season 3, 4, and 5. Stranger things have happened. I'm not holding my breath. I'm not. Aaron Pipes for $2. Pineapple on pizza. Oh, the pain. No, the gain. Pineapple, jalapenos, buffalo sauce. Heaven. If I die with that taste in my mouth, I've lived a good life. 2022 has been exciting, full of cringe, which makes people like me laugh. Amazon's Lord of the Rings, Gay Kids Soup, Star Wars Galactic Hotel, the woke movies, LOL. Fantastic, Mr. Knox. Did I not say it would get far, far worse before it gets better? And it's laughably bad now. That Star Wars thing is just embarrassing. And the most embarrassing thing about it, $6,000 for shitty dinner theater. Rey puts down her fucking lightsaber. She ignites a lightsaber and then puts it down and picks another one. Then why even bother having her ignite a lightsaber? And those influencers, everybody with their fucking camera, go Rey! Get him, Rey! The fact that they made a hotel with Rey and Kylo Ren, and there's no sign of Luke or Han. They're dumb. They're just dumb. How do I know it's going to fail? I don't know. The same way you guys know. You've been fans your entire life. How many times have you seen shit like this succeed? Never. The only reason it's been able to stay around is it's being propped up. But that hotel is an embarrassment. And I felt bad for the two women that they had to roll out to justify $6,000 and basically say, well, we're sorry if, it might not be for you if you're one of the poors, but we really put a lot into it. Did you? It doesn't look like it. And you know what else it doesn't look like? Star Wars. Robert Adams, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. I'm going to roll my R. Ryuzen for $5. Rudy's is the worst barbecue in Texas, but it tastes good to outsiders. I wasn't at Rudy's, though, was I? Maybe I was. But Black's or Terry Black's rules. Okay. I can't remember where I was. But I liked it. Hail, Gary. My brother is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. He is a middle school English teacher and wrote his master's thesis on Tolkien. Link in the next super chat. Awesome. I will check it out. Thank you, Steph H, for $15. Sir Ubasan for $2 says, Sonic the Hedgehog director also has big stones. Yes, and the only one to figure it out. How simple of an act was that to be humble, to just be humble, to go, hey, shit, you guys really don't like that. Okay, we'll change it. Sorry. Doing the best we can. It gets squashed automatically. People would gush over that if they did it with a major franchise. If somebody just came out and said, you know what? We fucked this up. We've gone about it all wrong. We're going to go back. We're going to make something for everyone. We're going to do the best we can. Can't promise it's going to be the greatest thing ever made, but we're going to do our best. And we apologize. And it'd be squashed. Boom. Fandom healed. Everything fine. Make what you make. It's the hardest thing for somebody in Hollywood to do. They don't even know how to do it. It's an alien concept. Humility. Raging fucking egomaniacs. It's especially alien in the comic book industry because the comic book industry has a lot of very specifically famous people to their industry. Most people wouldn't get recognized by most people walking down the street. Like your average, even your most famous comic book artist is going to get walked by most people not knowing who the fuck he is outside of Stan Lee. People will walk by Frank Miller all day long not knowing that they're walking by one of the greatest comic book minds ever. Most people don't know what John Byrne looks like. But they're incredibly famous within their very, very insular, I guess the word for them is community. At Comic-Cons. The three letters are there because the bass player 2011 was taken. Oh, okay. So I added 3 random letters, and yes, Richard III killed the 2 princes. Yeah, what a dick. What a dick. Thank you, bass player 211. I'll just say IFY. We'll just call it IFY from now on. Okay. Or just bass player 2011. Thanks, buddy. El Shandersaw says, we have a saying, don't California my Texas. Welcome and stay safe. Oh, I won't. The last thing I want is to move to the place I moved away from. I don't want to move to the place I moved away from. And it's not like, I am a native Californian. a native Southern Californian, but I'm not like an atypical Californian. I don't like the beach. I don't surf. No, I liked comic books and fucking metal and punk rock. And yeah, in high school, I was a dumb punk rocker, a dirtbag, a junkie. Yeah, didn't fit in. I was fine with that. Have you started the Second Amendment process? Asked Aaron Pipes for $2. No, but I will. I quite frankly been working on videos, but I will very soon. How good does that Second Amendment look after the Ukraine? I love that Occupy Democrats dipshit tweet that went out saying, the Ukrainians are armed. And then somebody else found the, nobody should have an AK or AR-15 or whatever. No, everybody should. It's very hard to invade a country that's armed. Civil War is my point where I left Marvel. Not because the writing was bad, but because it was the clear abandonment of heroic heroes fighting villainous villains. It was also the beginning of obviously adding real world events into the story, says Daniel, for $50. And you're right. Daniel, you are right. You are right. One of the things I did not like in Civil War was Spider-Man revealing his identity. I'm like, how are you going to go back on this? And you're going to have to, and I said it at the time, you're going to have to use Doctor Strange or make some stupid thing. And they ended up doing it in the movies, but then they did fucking Mephisto. And Quesada, a guy I defended, a guy I think he really did some good things. There were some really good stories in the mid-aughts. But they're not the big events. Paul Dini's Zatanna. You want to talk about a female-led comic that was really fucking good? Paul Dini's run of Zatanna. Great shit. Jeff Johns. Yeah, Snyder guys. Jeff fucking Johns. His JSA run is genius. It's absolutely genius. And I'm sure a lot of DC fans who are Snyder Cut fans who might not like what he did in the movies, you have to fucking admit, the man knows how to write DC Comics and knows more about DC Comics than Snyder and Ray Fisher and everybody who worked on that, including Ben Affleck, who does know something about comics combined. Guy's an encyclopedia. I mean, I don't know the man. I don't know the man, but I've never, ever, ever heard anything bad about him in all my years. Lots of gossip in the comic book industry. Lots of gossip. So when I was retailing, I knew it all because people would tell me. I'd talk to other comic shop owners, and I had this guy over for a signing and tried to bang half my staff. It's like, At the time I went, cool. They were of age. Fuck it. Enjoy Texas, Gary says Sam Wise the Brave for $4.99. Thank you. I am. I'm enjoying it immensely. Immensely. Hey, Gary, love from San Diego. Going to go see Batman tomorrow night. If Heat was the Dark Knight, then Seven is the Batman. Heat is a great movie, Kyle Sanger. You know how much I love Heat? I was on a Caribbean cruise, and I stayed in my fucking room to watch Heat. That's what I hear. But here's the trouble. Oh my God, I want to say it so bad. I really do. I'm going to give you a hint. There's something in particular I really hated about The Boys Season 2. And they might do the same thing in The Batman. Now, if it plays out on screen to be not that bad or overblown, then fine. No problem. No problem. And I'm going to reserve judgment. I could walk out of this movie fucking loving it. Absolutely loving it. But admittedly, with certain characters, I'm a bit of a purist, and I'm not going to apologize for it at all. I've not been a fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man at all. I liked him in No Way Home. They fixed and they fixed all the problems with it. Now, they could say that was their plan all along. Bullshit. Kind of liked Marvel Ultimates, FF particularly, says Elif the Lost for $2.79. I loved Ultimates because it was an alternate universe and it was different at the time. But now I'm tired of dystopian. I'm tired of anti-hero. I'm tired of ambiguous hero. I'm just tired of it with superheroes. We need to reconstruct the hero. Hollywood is not capable of doing that, and neither is the comic book industry. You know, the fact that Superman is so powerful and that he doesn't kill, that's not stupid. That's a brilliant trait to Superman. This guy has to hold back. Who could kill fucking anybody he wants? But the no-kill rule is important. And I know it comes from comics code and shit like that, but it works. It really works. Ultimate FF was fun. That was Mark Millar. Yep. Well, he also did Ultimates. Ultimates was fun. I liked, it was different at the time. I had no problem with it. I thought Ultimate Spider-Man was a really good run. At first. Before it became Miles Morales. Because Peter Parker is Spider-Man and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Women have gonads too, Gary. Ovaries are gonads, says G-Man for $2. I sit corrected. Bass player for $50. Thank you very much. Says, can't say I care what's going on with current DC. Oh, I read this one. All right. I read this one. So we're caught up on that side. We're going to go over here. Donations. The donation list. Okay. How good was that thumbnail in the last video? I'd love to take credit for it, but that's all Perry. And that meme comes from Right to Bear Memes. Well, here, let's take a look at that meme. Because it's the meme of the year so far. It just absolutely is the meme of the year. We'll go to it. Disney Star Wars needs to move on from Luke Skywalker. Disney needs to sell Star Wars back to fucking George Lucas or it's dead. That was Jane Theory who tweeted that up. By the way, check out Jane Theory's channel. She's a good in that one. She has done the Niobe reviews with Az. Oh my God, how great was Chrissy's fucking Grace Randolph on Friday Night Tights. Let's hear it for Chrissy Mayer. All right, here we go. I hope you can see that. Oh, wow. That's not what how did that get up there? Oh, it scrolled. There we go. Best meme I've seen this year. Oh, and these were all the epidemiologist experts 24 hours ago and 48 hours ago. Now they're all historians on the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. And all this shit about World War III. I just want you to remember something, okay? And I'm really trying to not sound judgmental with this. I'm not. That a lot of the independent news sources who are doing great work, by the way, they're doing great work. They're young. And I'm serious. I'm trying not to sound like fucking daddy old shit, but they're young. If I was their age, I'd be saying the same things, okay? When I saw 9/11 at my age, it was, I was 30? Thought fucking World War III was going to start. Everybody did. Then, we start parsing out. Still haven't got the truth on it, but we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Could it spiral out of control? Sure, it could. But as we're seeing so far, I don't know what the truth is, by the way. I have no idea what the truth is. But it doesn't look like it's the route that I thought it would be, just based on, like Russia having this huge army. So it hasn't been. And I mean, I guess the only thing to remember is, as shitty as our leadership is, we still have the most advanced technology and all kinds of stuff. So try not to worry about it too much. Sure, you want to pay attention to what's going on, but my stance hasn't changed. The mainstream media is your enemy. They are lying to you, and don't believe a fucking word they say. But that meme, fucking fantastic. Fantastic, I tell you. That is an artist right there. But yeah, I can understand how a constant diet of mainstream media news can probably stress a lot of people out. What helps me is I use, this is what I practice from recovery, is I only worry about what I can control. That's my, like what my immediate, my family, my work, like that's, I can't control what goes over there. If like something starts like really, it's going to suck and, it's going to hit by the way, our economy was shedding the bed before this happened. So I just hope it ends. War bad. That is my official political take. War bad. But invading somebody's country, even worse, and they have every right to fight for every inch of their sovereignty, and I hope they do. Hope everybody just fucking goes home. Dee Snider's a bitch. Dee Snider's a bitch. Two-hit blunder. Head boomer. Dee Snider said, people are asking why I endorse the use of "we're not going to take it" for the Ukrainian people and not for the anti-maskers. Well, one use is for a righteous battle against oppression, which I agree with. And the other is infantile feet stopping against an inconvenience. I do believe somebody responded, oh, you fucking Razor Fist roasted him months ago, which was glorious to see. But I think Jay Longbone responded with a take that won't get me taken off Spotify. And I just said, imagine that. You did turn out worthless and weak. And he looks a bit like a New Jersey grandma. Shut the fuck up, D. People losing their livelihoods, their life's work, isn't an inconvenience. I'm sorry that the middle class and the poors are just inconvenienced over losing their jobs and their livelihoods and their places to live. Why can't they just order Uber Eats every night like you? Fucking dipshit. Why don't you go tongue your little buddy Howard Stern? You could both be aging, old, estrogen-induced fucking sellouts. God, so many fucking rockers are a bunch of pussies. Bunch of fucking... Right said Fred. Right? I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt is more hardcore than fucking D. Snyder. They're more based than most of the bands I've fucking seen. And Eric Clapton, of all people, has been holding out too. So hail Eric Clapton. Turns out he was God. That's good. God of guitar. But Ozzy and D. Snyder sound like a bunch of fucking pussies. Pussies. Shame on you. You rock and roll rebels. I've done enough meth to kill a small town, but I'm worried about fucking COVID. Brian, spelled with a Y, for $50 on the Streamlabs side. Says Battlestar Galactica race and gender swapped several characters. There was a pushback initially, but when we saw the story, we checked it out wholeheartedly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I will freely admit that I was so anti-Battlestar Galactica. It was before I wasn't down with the female Starbuck, but what bothered me worse was Edward James Olmos coming out at Comic-Con and saying, if you liked the old Battlestar, you're going to hate this one. And it was just the worst way to start out. But you know what? Shut everybody up. The story. You're absolutely right. I was so fucking anti it that like I wasn't going to watch it. So a friend of mine, Josh, brings me, he had burned it on disc. And he's all, dude, you have to watch it. I'm not going to fucking watch it. Not going to watch it. Not going to watch it. Well, we watched it. And my mind was blown. And I mean, I was pretty much hooked in the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh, I was wrong. You know, somebody asked me about that. Oh, Christian and Toto asked me in his podcast, and I couldn't think of anything, but this was it. This is like the one thing I like was totally fucking wrong on was Battlestar Galactica. Yep. Absolutely wrong. Happy to be wrong. Gloriously wrong. Yeah, I fucking loved it. When the story is good, fans will accept a lot. When the story is bad, nothing escapes scrutiny. Absolutely. And you know what made Battlestar Galactica good? Characters. It had great characters, including Katie Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff was in the worst position. Starbuck, the most recognizable Han Solo ripoff in Battlestar Galactica, but everybody loved Dirk Benedict's Starbuck. An entire generation grew up on it. And Katie Sackhoff shut everybody up. First fucking episode. Didn't hurt that she was hot. It doesn't hurt. But attitude as well. And Edward James Olmos as Adama, one of my all-time favorite performances, period. Yeah, absolutely great performance. Matthew Hammond for $5 said you should check out Fuel City Tacos in Dallas at some point. The tacos are pretty good, but the elotes, corn in a cup, is amazing. They are sold in separate windows, and one of them only accepts cash. I will remember that when I get to, if I ever get to Dallas. I'll get to Dallas someday because QBG lives out there, and so does Eric July. So I'll be there. I'll try to avoid it when it freezes, though. Hey, Gary. Finally listening to the Silmarillion. I've been a fan and have read and watched the Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit since I was 6. And yes, old figure, it was about time since we aren't getting anything good from Lord of the Rings anytime soon. Now is the time. And the Silmarillion is fucking good. It's good. Melkor, Morgoth, makes Sauron look like Frodo. He's as tall as a mountain. He's a jealous God, basically. And he does some pretty fucking horrible things. Default for $5. Hey, Gary, with the announcement of the new Batman trilogy under Matt Reeves, if this new film goes well, what comic storyline villains would you like to see in the sequel? Howdy from your Texas neighbor. Thanks. And thank you for the $5. What would I like to see interpreted? I would like them to skip 10 years, and I would like to see a full-fledged Batman. That's what I really want to see. I want to say, I don't need a story. Well, I like Venom, but it's too early for Venom. Venom would be better later on. I'm a big fan. I wish they would have adapted Batman Year 2. Since this is Year 2, I wish they would have adapted Batman Year 2. It's one of my favorite all-time stories. Bad news, Gary. Just heard this on the internet, so you know it's true, but it appears Putin's latest war crime is pineapple on pizza. Oh, the humanity, says WG for $50. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Yes, obviously I am aligned. I have Russian connections because he ate pineapple on pizza, and so did I. Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting for one of my detractors to come after me because they wrote about me in Russia Today once or twice, I think. Robert Lewis for $5. Have you heard the Dark Tower series by Stephen King? In King's it's King's love letter to The Lord of the Rings and his greatest feat as an author. If you haven't read, then you really should. I have, Robert Lewis, and I love it. I used to be a big Stephen King fan until I started seeing Stephen King on Twitter and realizing that he's a complete dumb shit. And like, he hasn't written anything worth a shit, in my opinion, lately. I think his stuff plays very well to junior high kids. Like when I was in junior high, I loved his shit. But I like the Dark Tower. I do. Jay Lee does some, I believe, cover and interior work for Marvel. They adapted it 2010. I have them all. It's really good. Dark Tower, and then they did The Stand as well. And I like The Stand. I love the miniseries. I know it's cheesy, but I love it. Oh, that's right. They remade it on CBS, and everybody forgot about. I forgot about it. Did you know that they did The Stand on CBS All Ass? John Roberts says for $4.99, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Gandhi. Well said. Well said, my friend. Putin should have said Ukraine is anti-vax extremists and the U.S. NATO would have been okay with it. Probably, CJ, for $10. Daily Wire, great with thrillers, but how long before we get a woke-free science fiction again? 31, happy that I was alive when Battlestar Galactica, Stargate, DS9 were at their peak. Everything changed after the 2000s writer's strike. It really, God, that's a great point, Dylan Sharp. The writer's strike does play something into this. Did you know Alex Kurtzman is a scab? That's right. Excellent meme making the way around the nets the last few days, answering to the question, why do you need an AR-15 and a 30-round magazine, is on every news channel today. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. My wife needs to get a 30-round magazine. Okay, I got to wrap things up. I'm gonna check and see. I hope I got them all. If I missed any, I'll get it in the next Square Up. If you missed the Square Up from Friday Night Tights, it's on Nerdrotic Live, my other channel. I recorded it last night, put it up this morning. Recorded it in front of the members, so that's who I was talking to. I'll be on Real BBC tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. God, I'm in Central time now. 12 p.m. Central, and I believe it's 6 p.m. GMT, and it's BST. I can't remember. I don't think they start their daylight savings time same time we do. By the way, daylight savings time's stupid. It needs to stop. And I think it's for us, it's 2 weeks, and I think for them it's a week. I got to remember that because I got all screwed up, and I showed up like an hour late to a live stream one time. I got all screwed up. Hey, G, I hope you're having a good night. Always wish you the best. You as well. Thanks for inspiring me to start my channel. 2022 is going to be a wild ride. It is, and you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Ajax the Greatest says, I think you mentioned before, but remember remember how no one made a big deal about Tuvok being black because no one made a big deal about him being black? I seem to remember it not being a big deal when Tuvok was black. Or any of the diversity of the actual groundbreaking Star Trek. You know, I was at the Star Trek convention the last couple of years, and the only thing, according to the actors, adult pretenders who work on Star Trek Discovery, they say what differentiates them from all the other Star Trek is diversity. That's how fucking retarded these people are. They just repeat bullshit because that's all they can do, because they can't make the words for themselves. That's what an adult pretender is. Yes, some people are actually actors. I respect them enough to call them actors. Most people, I don't. And the cringe we are seeing over the last week with the Ukrainian stuff. We're going to go over it in Friday Night Tights next week. Clifton Duncan, an actual thespian, a brilliant guy, is going to be joining us on Friday Night Tights. I do believe Mahler's going to come on again as well, because we're going to talk a lot about the Batman. It's going to be a big deal in these parts. And we're going to cover all kinds of stuff too. Tomorrow, it's Nina Infinity. It's Mahler. It's yours truly on Az's channel, Heel versus Babyface, Real BBC. Wednesday, noon Central, which is going to be the regular time once I get regular with the nooner. We're going to start at 10 p.m. Pacific time, 12 Central. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. 2-hour shows, 2.5 hour shows. Can't go over 2.5 hours. And Friday Night Tights, regular time, Real BBC, regular time. And I'll throw in some square ups if necessary, or just some late night stuff on the weekends sometimes. Sometimes. And we'll see from there. And it's all going to come to you live from this studio that, what did somebody say? It looked like a gynecologist's waiting room. That was my favorite description. It won't look like that for much longer. Again, see the pile of action figures right there. That's just the beginning. There's a pile of, right down here. You can't see it. Some Doctor Who right there. And there's comics divisions room, and then there's the closet with all my hot toys. And yes, I have one figure up there. That's Dennis Hopper from Mario Brothers. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. If I missed a super chat or a donation, it will be made up in the square up, or I think there's, if it's only, I'll read it on Wednesday. I'll read it Wednesday, starting of the show. How's that? So we won't even do a square up. We'll just put it in the regular show. So I'll carry it over to the next show, and on this channel, which will be, again, 12 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday. I'm going to have to get used to this. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow on Az's channel. Thanks to the Nerdrotics. You did a great job as usual. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and a donation. We really appreciate you spending your hard-earned money with us and having a good time. Hope it was entertaining for everyone. I think I even got to everything in the title. Most everything. I didn't read Nicholas. Oh, you know what? We're going to go on that. I didn't read Nicholas Sal's. It's important. We need to read this before we go. Nicholas Sal's review of The Batman from the San Francisco Chronicle. There's no spoilers, okay? There's no spoilers, and this is a critic who are all full of shit, but there's one line in here that really has nothing to do with the Batman that I want to leave you with, okay? Review: Robert Pattinson's is a big mopey stiff as the Batman. This is Mick LaSalle. Now, I would say he's a pretty fair critic. I don't agree with them all the time, but he's not like a shill. The guy's been around for a long time in San Francisco, but he's a San Franciscan. Keep that in mind. We have had great and awful Batman movies dating back to 1989 with Tim Burton's Batman. We've seen lots of actors of varying quality in the lead role. Less than 3 years ago, we had a Batman spinoff, Joker, win an Oscar for Best Actor. Absolutely well-deserved. Love that movie. The terrain is crowded, and if you're going to make another Batman movie, you better have something new to say. Perhaps a fresh approach to the material. Maybe an actor so amazing in the title role that he makes it seem new again. In The Batman, we get neither. Robert Pattinson is an interesting screen presence with an air of strangeness and torment about him that should have served him well as Bruce Wayne. But it's as if Pattinson has forgotten everything he's learned since the Twilight films. He plays the entire movie in one long note of anguish and misery. He doesn't smile once. Well, Batman not smiling once, I don't care. Bruce Wayne, different story. Yeah, I'm not sold on that, dude. I'm trying to keep an open mind, but that looks really, I'm so wounded. The director, Matt Reeves, could have allowed Pattinson to go down his own path, or worse, encouraged him to play it in this way. Is a case of epic. Okay, I'm going to read that again. The director, Matt Reeves, could have allowed Pattinson to go down this path, or worse, encouraged him to play it in this way. This is a case, oh man, I'm fucking this up. Or worse, encouraged him to play it in this way. Is a case, encouraging him to play it this way, the way that he watched it, is a case of epic directorial malpractice. The movie is 3 hours long as the tour was supposed to be to Gilligan's Island. Not funny. That's a long time to go without a single variation of mood and tone. But Reeves, who co-wrote the script, seems to have decided something going into the picture. Make it dystopian. Make it a commentary on American discontent. Create a parallel world that reflects ours, etc., etc. So Reeves ends up with something that feels very 2019. That is from a San Francisco critic. Something that feels very 2019. Isn't that what Lord of the Rings is? Isn't that what every fucking thing we've seen from Marvel over the last year has been? Very 2019. I thought that, I might not agree with them. If there's no variation between Bruce Wayne and Batman in the movie, that's a problem. That's straight up a problem. But it depends. It depends. Maybe he's misinterpreting it. I don't know. His judgment will have no effect on how I enjoy the film or not. But I just thought that little sentence right there says a lot. From a San Francisco critic, no less. As pre-pandemic as skin-tight jeans, he comes up with a knockoff of Joker, only without the wit and without the great performance. Just a flimsy idea of everything is awful, corrupt, and rotten, and he assumes that this concept is so deep and profound that he needs 3 hours to develop it. Okay, that's harsh. That is some harsh criticism. Nick did not like this movie. Again, I might love it. But damn. Yeah, I just hope there's more to it than that. I really do. I do. But yeah, the takeaway here again is the 2019 comment. You may disagree with how he feels about the movie, but would you be surprised? I guess we'll find out in a couple of days. I hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm wrong about this film. And I hope I'll walk away loving it. So again, thanks everyone. Appreciate y'all. We're going to wrap this up now. Show the lovely and beautiful chat. I want you all to have a very good day or evening, wherever you are. Remember, not all who wander are lost, and may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Nerdrotic.com.
Lazy and evil. For years I've watched y'all allow Donald Trump turn you to crazy people. Where's that freedom eagle when you must need them? You bugging like beetles and lining up gleeful sticking needles in. 2020 was the year that y'all were losing it. Watching smart people I respect turn into lunatics. The rational became irrational. The avenue we travel through will have a few kickbacks will hassle you. Y'all fools so short-sighted, of course you write it. Shut it down, print money, you should be indicted. What you are doing is criminal. And been a fool, the end of you is gonna be the end of you, and your institute is crooked. Fools claiming I hate the police. Too stupid to understand that they are what they eat. Control freaks that'll use their own homies to seek power and then put them on the wall in a week. This industry is full of followers that holler when it's time to make a dollar, and positions that they wallow in are shallow, and they don't understand half the crap that they are swallowing, regurgitating all of it and acting like a scholar. Wait, this about all the contradiction that I can take. I'd rather you get it now, but truth is you kinda late. Your silliness is limitless, and it would benefit your tendencies if you could just focus a little bit in that roller coaster of emotions. emotion that you going through, control the pool. I notice you letting it rolling over you. Logic ain't in the conversation, ain't in the realm or reality. Basic as an Applebee's, y'all chattel see that poly pundit, that'll be the sheepdog. You know your teeth soft because you weak sauce. Teach y'all the basics of each fault. I be raw, rough around the edges like a tree saw. Got a lot of options, cause the optics always popping, and I'm dropping what I'm gonna do, adopting what I wanna do. Liberation, so every fake kid in 8 men that's pacing, cause I don't have to abide by the ways I'm just saying.
Do not come.
Feeling like $1 million Bitcoin, a lot of adventure.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Dame, dame, dame